Happy Monday, everyone. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So, today's live, I'm going to be covering my brand new program, my complex training program. Now, it's already middle of November, believe it or not. It's been a crazy year, but quite a fast one, right? Kind of slow but fast at the same time. So, don't worry. You've still got time. This is a 4-week plan to gain more muscle, more strength, get leaner, better, feel healthier. 4 weeks with my complex training plan. Now, we are finishing up my Summer Shred Challenge, my Super Shredded 8 program, which was an 8-week program. Now, if you're wondering what kind of results you can get in 4 weeks, well, just look at the results that everyone got over the Super Shredded 8 program. Now, granted, it was an 8-week program, but they're required to post their photos every single week. And if you look at some of the photos that I've been sharing with you guys of these amazing transformations, you can even see after just 4 weeks, amazing transformations. And obviously, with an extra 4 weeks added on, the transformations were nothing short of absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Take a look on my social media if you aren't aware of all the transformations that the Gym Army had made during this program. So I'm having a tough time picking up the winner, but don't worry, that $10,000 grand prize winner will be selected very soon. So if you're in the running and you know who you are, good luck. We will be going through those final photos very soon. Now, in my complex training program, this is not one of my challenges. However, I'm still going to put something out there for you guys that are following this program over the next 4 weeks. So we're going to use a hashtag, Gym Complex Training. So hashtag Gym Complex Training. It should be up online there so you can see it. Those of you who start this program this week, if you put it up, a photo or video of you doing one of the exercises or whatever it is, maybe it's a photo of you recovering after, how hard you worked, whatever it is you want to be, whatever it is you want it to be, post it with that hashtag, and each week I will be selecting one winner who will be awarded a lifetime free membership to gymstoppani.com. Now, I have one more prize to give away for someone who can guess what's in my shaker cup. Now, there's 2 things in my shaker cup. It's not just one. So, you have to guess what 2 gym products I mixed together, and you have to guess what flavors they are. Go. The first person who guesses what the 2 products are in my shaker cup right now and the flavors will win a free flavor of their choice, regardless of what my flavor is, a free bottle of each one of those products, which I can't tell you what it is, but you know they are absolutely phenomenal. So, does this help? Oh my God, that is so amazing. Wow, so fruity. If that's a hit. All right, let's get into complex training. Now, despite the name, it's a very simple and well-researched technique, okay? And you may have seen this before. I have a complex training program sort of buried on my website. But also, if you've taken a look at any of my at-home workouts, I use complex training in some of these workouts to enhance the explosiveness and the strength. So, what does complex training do? Well, who's familiar with supersets? Well, supersets are where we do a exercise, or 2 exercises back to back. So, let's say I was doing curls, and then I went into kickbacks for triceps. Okay, so 2 opposing muscle groups. That's a superset. Or, I could do hammer curls, also for biceps and forearms, compound set, or superset with regular curls. So that's 2 exercises for the same muscle group, known as a compound set. With complex training, we're not so much concerned with hypertrophy, which is what these 2 techniques are mainly involved with, although the supersets can actually help with strength as well. But the compound sets are about creating extra fatigue. So it's about hypertrophy, not about performance. Complex training is more about developing power and strength depending on how you organize the two exercises. So the first way is we're going to be talking about is the power complex. So go over to my complex training program, and this you can find at gymstoppani.com. That's the home page right there. And we'll talk a little bit about the science, but what we're talking about is a power, here we see, exercise pair 1 is a power complex. And I'll break down the workouts for you so you can see what we're doing, and then we'll talk about how the reps change each of the 4 weeks. So, with a power complex, what we're basically going to be doing is a heavy exercise. So, for chest, it would be, say, the bench press, okay? We're going to be doing heavy, like 5, 4 reps, heavy weight. Then, almost immediately, not with no rest, we do take a little rest, whereas supersets you basically do with no rest. Here, you're going to rest, and I'll talk about the rest periods. They vary depending on your goal, whether you're doing the power complex or a strength complex. But we're almost immediately, within a minute or so at least, we're going to then move on to the next exercise, which is going to be an explosive movement like a medicine ball throw, right? And so what's happening here is that when I was doing the heavy bench press, what it's doing is priming my nervous system, okay? And what that means is when I'm lifting that heavy weight in the bench press, that nervous system is now ready. When I'm done and I move on to that next exercise, my nervous system is ready for another set of heavy bench presses, right? But when I pick up that 16, 20-pound medicine ball after I was bench pressing maybe 300 pounds, and my nervous system fires like I'm ready to push 300 pounds, now I'm able to maximize the amount of power that I provide on the ball. Now, you've actually seen this if you've watched American baseball, right? So, in baseball, for those of you who are tuning in not from America, okay, and aren't familiar with baseball, right? We get up to bat, pitcher pitches the ball, and hopefully I knock it out of the park. What does the batter do before he steps up, when he's in deck, right? He's in the deck, he's waiting to bat, and his other teammates up. What does he do? He either puts a weighted donut on the bat, or he grabs a couple extra bats for extra weight, and you'll see them right swinging extra bats, or a bat with a donut with a weight on it, right? Why are they doing that? Well, now when he's swinging, his nervous system is primed to swing a much heavier object in his hands. But when he gets rid of all the extra weight and steps up to the plate now for real, like I said, that nervous system is ready to fire like it's swinging much heavier weight, but the weight is much lighter than the nervous system expects, and more power to take that ball further. You probably don't see this because you don't see what they're doing off the track. Track athletes use this as well. High jumpers, long jumpers, sprinters, they may actually go back to the locker room and do some heavy squats or some heavy sled pushes to, again, get that nervous system fired up to carry much more weight, but then when it's just the body weight, they can explode and have more power, which is going to help them develop more speed. So, we're doing that here in the gym. So, for each major muscle group, except for some of the smaller ones like biceps, etc., we're going to first be doing a power complex pair, okay? So, I'll go right down here to the workouts so we can see these. So here's week 1, right? So our power complex pair here is the bench press with a power push-up. And I'll demonstrate these a little bit after we get the science out of the way, and I'll give you alternatives, okay? For example, medicine ball chest throw. If you don't have a medicine ball, who doesn't have a medicine ball? Don't worry. I'm going to show you options so that everyone can do this despite what equipment you have. But, so we have our power complex. We do that heavy bench press, 5 reps here, heavy weight, okay? And then we're gonna follow it with our power push-up. And if we go back up here to the top, we'll talk about the rest period. So, on the power complex, you can see right here, it says rest 30 to 60 seconds between the exercises. So, when I'm done with the bench press, within 60 seconds, I'm gonna do the power push-up. And again, I'll get into these power exercises for you and give you some alternatives that you can do. But then when you're done with the push-up, you're gonna rest about 2 minutes before you go back to do another bench press followed by that power push-up, okay? So 30 to 60 seconds between these exercises, but 2 minutes between those power complexes. Okay, then when we're done with that, we move on to what's called a strength complex. So here, it's the absolute complete opposite of what we were doing for the power complex. Now, we are priming the nervous system to provide more strength with a heavy weight by first lifting a very light weight explosively. So, on the flip side, we'll go back to that chest workout. We did that bench press followed by the power push-up, right? The power push-up is where you're coming off the floor. It's a very explosive movement. So the bench press is priming the nervous system so that we have more power on the push-up. Now, we're gonna flip it around. Now, we're doing the medicine ball chest press throw first, the explosive move, and then we're doing the heavy move, the incline bench press in this case, 3 sets of 5 seconds. So now what happens here is those fast explosive reps prime that nervous system to fire with more power and speed. Why is this important when we get to the heavy bench press? Because there's something known as starting strength, okay? And that's literally when you first push that bar off your chest. The amount of power and speed that you can apply to that bar will depend on how much weight you can lift. So the more power that you can develop in that early stage right off the chest, the more strength you're gonna have on the bench press. So this primes that nervous system to provide all that power and speed when you get ready to lift that heavy weight. Even though it's heavier weight, that nervous system is primed to move those muscles quickly and explosively. And so that helps with the strength component. So here, let's talk about the rest periods with our strength complex. Here we're going to rest 1 to 2 minutes between exercises. So with the power complex, we're only resting about 1 minute or less. Here we're resting at least 1 minute, even up to 2 minutes. And then in between those complexes, we're going to rest a full 2 minutes. Okay, then we finish our muscle group, and we're talking about chest in this case, as I'm giving for an example, with what's known as this muscle complex. And all the muscle complex is what I already demonstrated at the beginning. It's a compound set for that same muscle group. So, let's move back to this chest workout. So here's our power complex. We did that bench press with the power push-up. We then did the strength complex where our power move was first, followed by the heavyweight move. Now we're doing our muscle complexes or our compound sets, okay? And in this case, we're doing 2 for the chest, okay? And this is gonna vary depending on how big of a muscle group it is. Smaller muscle groups like arms may get fewer total volume here, total sets and exercises. But we're basically supersetting or compound setting the fly, followed by the dumbbell bench press. So this is a pre-exhaust one where we're doing the single joint move first, followed by the multi-joint move, the bench press. And then we're doing the compound set again, here with just 2 single joint moves, the low pulley cable crossover over to the high cable crossover, so lower and then upper chest. Then we move into the next exercise, which is triceps. And as you'll see here, triceps does not have a power complex, okay? Why? Well, as you're reading the overview, it's because they assist on the chest move. So they've already been involved in power development. So we're going to move right into a strength complex for them. In this case, we're going to do a medicine ball overhead triceps throw, and I'll show you how to do that in an alternative for you as well. Actually, two alternatives for this one, with the dumbbell overhead triceps extension. And then we go right into our compound sets for the triceps, and then we finish with abs, which are both going to have a power and a strength complex as well as a compound set. Now, you'll see that's it seems like a lot of work, but remember, you're moving quickly in between exercises. This isn't like you're doing an exercise sitting around waiting. You're moving particularly quickly during those compound sets to really finish out that muscle group. So if we're talking about chest again, we've come in, we've done a power complex, right, to develop more power. We've done a strength complex to develop more strength. Now we're finishing off with hypertrophy to get muscle growth so that we're getting all the benefits. Remember, that's what my programs always try to deliver, or are designed. I don't say try, they do deliver. They're designed. That's what I'm attempting to deliver when I design a program. Even if it's a strength program, I don't want to just provide you guys the best strength program you've ever had so your bench press goes through the roof. Shortcut to strength, for example. You also get hypertrophy and fat loss, particularly with how you want to add your cardio and your nutrition plan, right? Those really make up the big difference, because we can always train for more strength and more muscle while we're also training for less body fat with different cardio, HIIT, and different diet. So that's the real gist of what the program is. Now what I want to do, for those of you who are attempting to do this, but find that a lot of these exercises are unique to you, remember, if you're tuning in, regardless of what platform, if it's TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, remember, I have a YouTube channel. Who doesn't have a YouTube channel? Everybody asks, you have a YouTube channel? Of course. So if you can't find an exercise easily on one of my social media platforms of me demonstrating it, go to YouTube, Jim Stoppani, and whatever the exercise is, and likely you will find some type of video that I've done over the years. Remember, I've been doing this quite a long time. So what I'm going to do now, for those of you who want to hang in here and walk through some of these exercises, is I'm going to give you a demo on how to do these, a demo on how to do the complex and the strength complexes, but also a demo on those exercises and some good alternatives, because maybe you don't have a medicine ball. Maybe you have a medicine ball, but you can't throw it against your wall, okay? I'm going to show you all the alternatives. So let's start right here back with chest. So we're going to go over to the bench press now. And here we're on the flat bench press, okay? So what I'm going to do here is, after I've warmed up, and I haven't warmed up, so I'm just going to leave this out here. It's really not that heavy. But if this was, say, the weight that I'm going to be using in week 1, what weight do I want to do? It says 5 reps, right? So do I want to put on my 5 rep max here? No, because your goal on the power complex, it's going to be different than the strength complex. Your goal on the power complex is to complete 5 reps of the bench press on all 3 of those sets, okay? Set 1, set 2, and set 3. So if you use your 5 RM, you're going to get 5 reps on set 1. You're probably not going to get it on set 2, and definitely not on set 3. So you're going to go a little lower for your 5 rep max, maybe even your 6 or 7, or even closer to your 8 rep max here, okay? You don't have to go to complete failure either on these 5 reps, but it should be fairly close, particularly on that last set. The first 2, you don't want to reach failure because you're going to have to get another 5 reps. So you're going to come over, and in week 1, it's 5 reps Need 2, it drops to 4, and the 3, and 2. So you're going to do your bench press, 5 reps, and we'll say this is heavy weight. Five reps. Now, I will wait my 30 to 60 seconds, and then I'm going to do a power push-up, okay? So, first thing I'll tell you guys is I can't really do a power push-up because of my knee. Remember, I'm recovering from surgery, 4 surgeries on this knee to get this quad reattached, 4 surgeries until this one after one, you can't see the indent, but it's still not completely attached. So I'm very limited right now to what I'm able to do. So I can't do complete push-ups. But the good news is many other people don't have the strength to propel their body off the floor. What do? Raise your body. Remember, the higher your body is when you do a push-up, whether it's here, and even this is going to be too hard for me. Here, this is going to be a little easier, or you can even come up higher here on the bar and do this. You're going to come down, okay, and then push off. And that's all you need to do is that explosive move right there. That's our explosive move. You could do this against the wall, leaning against, I don't really have a good wall to demonstrate it, but you can do this in a doorway as well. You really don't need to be that flat because you want to be able to provide as much power in speed on that movement. And if you're not able to do that with a regular push-up, then you're going to have to raise your body. The higher your body, the higher your arms are relative to your feet on the push-up, the lighter your body weight will provide resistance. So that's complex, power complex for chest. So then I would do that, right? Rest 2 minutes, go back, another 5 on the bench press, another 3 in the power push-up. Then I'm going to go into my strength complex after I've done those 3 sets. Now, just a little tip here. For those of you who do not have 2 to 3 years of training experience, if you're around 1 year or so, you definitely want to be closer to 1 year to be doing this plan. This is a more advanced program. You need to be closer to about a year, at least 6 months of training. If you are in that area, 6 months to a year, maybe even a year and a half, under 2 years of training, you can reduce your total volume, meaning your total sets, okay? So try doing 2 for each complex instead of the 3. See how that goes. If that's not much of a challenge as you go through the program, you could always add sets back in, okay? So if you think this is going to be tough for you, or it's just a lot of work for one workout, and again, remember, you're going to be moving fast, so it won't take as long as it seems, you can reduce the sets to 2, okay? Particularly here in the power and strength complexes. And then if you really want to focus more on hypertrophy, you can bump it up back to 3. But again, I would probably start around 2 for a lot of people, unless you've been training consistently for a good 3, I'd say at least 2 to 3 years. So, strength complex. Now is a medicine ball chest throw with an incline bench press. So, medicine ball chest throws, I'm going to come over here. And what I'm going to do here is I have these little dotted lines on the wall, so I know where, if I stand here, where the ball hits on the wall, it's going to be right where I want it to return. I don't want it to come up here. I don't want it to come down here. I'm trying to mimic a press, and really, since I'm throwing it kind of up, it's kind of an incline press here. So what I want on the negative is I want it to come back in that same pattern, right? I don't want it to be coming up here. That's not going to target the chest. I want that negative as it comes off the wall. So I'm getting 2 things here. I'm getting that explosive power because I let the weight go, okay? So watch what happens when I allow this weight to leave my hands. That provides far more power than, let's say I was lying on my back, and this is a barbell, right? And I'm doing it like like this, but I'm not letting the weight come out of my hands. I have to stop the weight. So about the halfway point, you're actually doing what we call deceleration. You're slowing the weight down so that it doesn't come out of your hands, right? So that's a poor way to develop power because you can't go as fast, you start fast, but then you have to stop. You have to really decelerate that ball. So allowing the weight to leave your hands is the best way to maximize power. Well, what if you train at home and you've got drywall, right? You can't slam your medicine ball into a drywall, or you're just at a gym that they don't allow you to throw it against the wall. You get the same concept here, just as I'm doing, lying down with the medicine ball. Now, what I'm going to do is instead of relying on the wall to send the ball back to me so I can get that negative, I'm going to allow gravity. So I'm just going to push it up as fast as I can. And this takes a little, you're going to have to find a spot on the wall where it comes back to you where you don't want it to come up too high or too low. But same concept. You're allowing that ball to leave your hands, maximizing power, and then as it falls, it's picking up more force as you're catching it on the negative, so it's applying more negative force. Now, what if you don't have a medicine ball? You're going to use bands, okay? Bands, after ballistic training, meaning where you're throwing things and letting them leave your hand, and by the way, this is where the Smith machine comes really handy, okay? You'll see trainers tell you never use the Smith machine. Well, that's like a doctor who tells you to never take supplements. If they don't understand it, they fear it. So they just tell you, don't do it, okay? Yes, you don't want to be always bench pressing and squatting in a Smith machine, okay? It doesn't follow the normal pattern that the body follows when it lifts weights. However, it's a guided bar. What can we do with a guided bar, guys? A lot of things, okay? One of those is it allows the weight to leave the hands. And now you know where it's going to come back because it's guided. You don't have to worry about where you're throwing the ball. Too high, too low. You throw it up, and you know where it's going to be when it comes back down. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Ballistically is great for power development. Second in line after that are bands. Okay, why? You don't throw the bands, right? They never leave your hands. So how is that developing power, Jim? Linear variable resistance. How many times have you guys heard me say that term? LVR. That means as I push or pull these bands, the further they stretch, the harder and harder it gets to continue stretching them. So what that means is I never decelerate like with a free weight because the weight keeps getting harder and I have to keep recruiting more and more muscle fibers to keep providing more power and force to keep moving this thing. So it never decelerates. So bands make a great way to do that same thing. Chest press throw, but with bands. Very explosively. So when you see an exercise that is supposed to be done with a medicine ball or with a Smith machine where you're letting it leave your hands, don't have either one of those, bands. Mimic the move with bands because in that top position, you're not decelerating the resistance or the weight. You're continuing to accelerate, continuing to recruit more and more muscle fibers as you go through that entire range of motion. That's maximizing power development, and the research confirms that. Here's my drink over here. So, that is, and then obviously you're going to do that. You're going to rest about 2 minutes. Then you're going to come do your strength complex, and it's the incline bench press. You guys can watch my videos on how to do that one. Just make sure we get through all these unique exercises. So, on triceps. Our strength complex is a medicine ball overhead triceps extension throw with a dumbbell overhead triceps extension. So let's talk about that explosive ballistic move for triceps. So if you think of an overhead triceps extension, right? Where you're going to hold the dumbbell, say this is a dumbbell, and you do this. So I'm trying to do this ballistically. So I want it to leave my hand, but I also want to maximize that negative return. So you notice this spot up here. So that's my spot. This one is a little treacherous because it comes right at your head if you don't get it right. So, but again, just like my open grip, all sport requires skill, guys. So you got to practice. But you're going to get it so you don't want it to come here. You want that negative to take the arm back overhead. So you're going to be throwing this one high. Like that, okay. You can't throw it against the wall. Same concept as chest. You're going to just throw it and catch it. Now this one, again, it's going to be weird because you're going to want to throw it back a bit so that you don't land here. You want to land back here, like that. I'm not that good at it because I've got a wall, so I don't have to do this version, but you get the point. Now, what if you don't have the medicine ball? You're just going to do this with bands. So I've got my band set up. You don't even need handles here because you can just use a neutral grip. And then it's the same move. Explosive on that positive. That's your explosive alternative for triceps. And then for abs, we have a power complex. So we're doing here a weighted crunch. Okay, you're going to hold a dumbbell or a weight or a weighted vest to do your crunches. And then you're going to do the medicine ball crunch throw. You can watch, I have a video on that. But same concept. You're going to line a bench, crunch, and throw against the wall. Okay. If you don't have the medicine ball, or you can't do that, or you don't have one of those, have you seen the ball machines that you throw in and it rolls right back to you? Obviously, you don't get the negative, but again, you're going to do bands, okay? So here, we can do these standing, and what you're just going to do is explosive crunches. This band's really not enough weight for me. But you're going to do your crunches explosively. And then on our strength complex, we're going to do a cable wood chopper with the oblique pushdown. So here we're demonstrating now for you a complex with single arm or single side exercise versus both arms at the same time or both sides at the same time. So with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do each side, right? So like I said, we normally rest about 2 minutes in between our strength complexes, somewhere around there, right? So instead of that, what we're going to do is you're going to start with your cable wood chopper, right? Do your reps there, then switch sides, do the cable wood chopper on the other side. So now this side is getting rest, right? While I'm doing the other side. Then I'm going to immediately go into my cable oblique push down because now that side had its rest, right, while the other side was working. And so then I can go right into my oblique push down. And then this way. You can watch my video on the push down on YouTube as well. But what I don't like this is because what you tend to do is you pull and you use your lats and arm muscles to pull instead of using the obliques. So what I like doing is getting all those pulling muscles out of the way. And now what we're doing is pushing with those obliques. You feel it much better. So that's our strength complex for abs. So that's workout number 1. And then workout number 2 is back and biceps. So Smith machine row with the Smith machine power row. So you're going to come into your Smith machine here. And I'm not going to change up the weight, but obviously your row is going to be with much heavier weight, right? So you're going to, just so you get the concept. So we're going to do a heavy row and then a power row. And again, this is where the Smith machine comes in very handy. Now, if you have an angled Smith machine, one that kind of angles back, you want to be on the side where it's angling back. You don't want to be it angling out here for this exercise. You're coming up and in towards the body. So you're going to do your rows just like dumbbell. I think of doing a dumbbell, right? So we do dumbbell row, heavy. And again, we're doing one arm, so we're going to do both arms. So say I did 5, both arms. Then I'm going to take off the weight, need a lighter weight. And now my power row is going to look like that holistic medicine ball throw, but instead of pushing, I'm now pulling. And so what you're going to do is pull and allow it to, and then you're going to catch it on the way back down. Then you're going to switch sides. So that release is very important because if I was doing just this, I'm now, like I said, slowing it down here. And remember, with back exercises, we're weakest in this range right here. So it really helps to get that full range of motion explosively. Okay, that's our power complex. Then we go into a strength complex where we do a power dumbbell row. So with the power dumbbell row, again, you go to YouTube, you can see my video on this. It's probably going to be a little too light, a lot too light actually, but you're going to start with the dumbbell on the ground and in between your legs, okay? The goal here is to use both your legs to start the weight and your lats to pull it up. It's almost like starting a lawnmower. Okay, remember the little pull lawnmowers? Like that, but we're going to let it almost like pull it as fast as we can. So that arm should come up really high. And again, you're going to start with a slight knee bend and use those legs to explode, get that weight moving, get that momentum going. And then you're going to switch sides. And then, again, this is a single joint move, and I would be going heavier here, obviously, on the heavy exercise. For rows, I prefer doing them standing here. And so instead of kneeling on the bench, I like it this way where you're standing, because now, particularly if you have lower back issues, when you're kneeling, you're no longer using your ankle or your knee joint to absorb some of that force, particularly if you're using like a 100-pound dumbbell here, right? It's going to be a lot of weight in your lower back. So this helps relieve the stress while you're doing your rows. Remember, pull it towards your hip, not up high You want to work those lower lats. You're going to switch arms. So that's for back. Then we go into our compound sets. Then we go into biceps. So we'll break down really just this first exercise, the medicine ball curl throw. So this is way too light, but just for demonstration. You're going to hold this, shoulders back, keep the ball close to the body, and just like you're doing a curl, but you're going to throw it up and then catch it to get that negative. Don't have a medicine ball? Try this with dumbbells. Now, most gyms are probably not going to allow you to do this, so be careful because you don't want to hurt yourself or someone around you. I'm lucky I train alone, so I get to fart around a lot with different techniques and practice things. So, but it's basically going to look like this. So what you're doing is you're getting the explosive rep with one arm, and you're getting the negative rep with the opposite arm. So you're going to throw it up and catch it. Throw it up. So what you have to do is basically not just throw it straight up, but I'm throwing it up and then sort of flipping it so that I grab it down and I get that negative. And again, most gyms probably won't let you do that. And even if they do, be very careful. Start very light until you get the hang of it, especially if you're not good with eye-hand coordination. So that's an alternative that you can do there. I'll also show you a curl version you could do in this. I'll show that in a minute. Well, I just want to make sure we get through all these other exercises. But in the Smith machine, you could also, just like the row, you could curl and throw it up and catch it as another version for a ballistic curl. With forearms, we don't do any of the strength or power complexes. We just go right into the compound training. And then workout number 3 is shoulders. So let's get into the shoulders. So we have Smith machine shoulder press and Smith machine shoulder press throw. Now, you don't have to do the first exercise on the Smith machine if you're able to take up 2 spots, but usually you're not. So that's why I have it as a Smith machine press and then the Smith machine throw. So what this is going to look like is similar to the back exercise, but now I'm pushing the weight overhead. So your normal shoulder press is going to look like this. All right? You're going to do your 5 reps in week 1. You're going to rest 30, 60 seconds, and then you're going to do your ballistic, where you're going to literally allow this thing to go as high as you can in the Smith machine. So there you're getting that ballistic and you're getting that negative on the way down. Now, if you don't have the Smith machine and you can't do that, you have the option of bands, right? So you can do your band shoulder press. That's an easy one. Or you can do a push press either with a barbell or with dumbbells as your explosive move. Now, it's not quite as explosive as a ballistic because they don't leave your hands. And I can't really demonstrate this well because of my knee, but you're using a lot of legs, right, to dip and explode. And again, that's a little warm, so. But you get the picture. So those are some options for your shoulder power complex. And then with the strength complex, you have this high pull and an upright row. So for those of you who don't know what a high pull is, you can also do this one in the Smith machine if you really haven't done the high pull, because now you're on the guided bar. And again, choice is yours. You can do this with a free weight bar, but if you haven't done it before, I would recommend. So your standard upright row. Okay, make sure, guys, you use a wider than shoulder width grip. The wider, the better. Okay, you don't want to come in close here. It's going to cause internal rotation of that upper arm, and that's going to increase your risk of shoulder injury. So go wide, and you don't come up any higher than lower chest or upper abs. That's your upright row. But now, for the high pull, it's going to look like this. You're going to use your legs. It's a bit of a full body upright row, if you will. And so you're going to allow that to just come up. I'm not pulling it all the way. I'm literally just right there. I'm almost letting go. You see that? Now, one thing on the Smith machine, you're doing these ballistic moves. If you have one of these bars that is really loose, you may throw it and it gets caught. So you're going to have to get a little tricky with ways to sort of hold it back. You can either use bands, a wire, or a zip tie just to hold this one flipping back. Mine is okay, it usually doesn't catch. So if you find you have that, that's what you're going to have to do. Okay, then we get into our barbell power shrug. So, and again, because of my knee, this is going to be a little wonky, but it's basically a full body shrug. So instead of just doing your normal barbell shrug, which is what you're going to follow this exercise with, you're going to use your feet, your calves, and your legs to help assist you. And again, because of my knee, that's quite wonky, so pardon the demo. Well, you get the point. So, and then workout 4 is legs. So I can barely, obviously, demonstrate most of these, but you can see me demonstrating these before my leg surgery on my YouTube channel. So we have our deadlift. We come over here. I would do it here in the platform, right? I'm going to do my deads. Then my rest 30 seconds. 36 seconds. Then I'm going to do my, I can't really obviously do my jump squats. Then, man, it's a hot one here in LA. After we got some cold weather, we're about 86 today. Then we're going to do the depth jump with a squat. So, with the depth jump, and again, I've got videos on this demonstrating, and I can't actually demonstrate the full thing, so bear with me. What you want to do here is on a depth jump, you're not jumping off. Okay, you don't want to go any higher than the box. Okay, you're going to start short, probably even shorter than this 18 inches. You might even want to start at 12 to get the hang of it, because what you're doing is you're literally just dropping. Okay, so you would sort of put this foot over like you're just going to drop off. You're not leaping. You're not leaping forward. You're not leaping up. You're literally allowing your body weight to just drop down. And again, I can't do this, but you're going to land. You don't want to be too far out because that means you jump. But you're going to land here. You're going to absorb all that negative energy as you land. And what that does is it stretches the muscle fibers. And now, when you jump up, it's like an elastic band being released. And now you're able to jump with more explosive force. So, that's what we're doing to prime our legs for the squat. And then the only other thing I'll really call out here is the the calf jump. So, and again, I can't really demo this one, but I have video on YouTube. But basically what you're doing is a jump squat where you're trying to minimize how much knee involvement. If you kind of think of like a ballerina, you know, ballerinas jump with their feet like that. You're really focusing, you don't have to do that way, but you're really focusing on using your feet to literally propel you as high as you can. You do a little knee dip, obviously you have to. You can't just flip up with your ankles, but you're not trying to get a full drop where you're using your hamstrings and quads, mainly just the calf. So those are your alternatives, and I'll be providing you guys little tips throughout the weeks with video as we go through this program. So remember, you've got 4 weeks left to crush 2020. I know it's been a crazy, crappy year. This is your final chance to make 2020 end on a good note by being your strongest, healthiest, leanest, and most muscular. So, those of you who are ready to start, make sure you use that hashtag Gym Complex Training, JYM, Complex Training, with a photo, whatever you want it to be, demonstrating you going through this program. I'll be picking one winner each week to get a free lifetime membership to gymstoppani.com. All right, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in, for always being Gym Army Strong, and check out those videos, and make sure you check out gymsubs.com. Thank you all, and as like I said, thank you for always being Gym Army Strong.